Today I want to talk about summer trail cam locations on a new property. The summer's a really popular time where guys are getting new permission pieces, they're picking up new leases, they're even buying land. When you're somebody like myself, I bought this property back in December of 2024, so this summer is the first opportunity that I have to learn how the deer are using the property through the entirety of the season. So I'm relying on these summer trail cameras to really get a general understanding of how deer are navigating through my property. So in this video, I'm just going to go ahead and break down these trail cam locations to get a little bit better understanding on why I'm choosing them. So that way, if you guys did just pick up that new piece, you might have some ideas of where you can put these cameras out. Now this video is going to be particularly useful for those of you that are in big woods, hill country settings, because that's what I have here on my property. But nonetheless, stick around if you don't hunt in this type of habitat, because there's still going to be some useful tips on how you can pick the right trail camera locations just based off of the natural deer behavior. So with that, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of these camera locations. Now, I always feel like it's worthwhile to have a trail camera set up around the food source on your property. So for me here, this food plot that we're in is going to be that main focal point for the food on my property. It's about a ½ acre in size. I'm still actually doing some work on it here. Now the trail camera is positioned right in the center of the food plot, which typically when I'm running non-cell cameras, I really don't like to do that, because by doing so, I'm constantly coming in and out of here if I want to check what is going on this camera. But with the amount of work that I have left, a little bit of cutting left to do, getting the food plot ready to go, and then getting that food plot planted, I'm going to be spending enough time in here that for at least the next few weeks, I'm fine putting this in the center part of the food plot. And then as I transition, once everything is planted, I'm going to move it off to the edge. And then I have a couple other trail cam locations that are on the entrance points coming down into this food plot that are going to be key points in this video as well. So there's a lot of cool things about this food plot, which I can do the separate videos on all of the ways that I set this up, because I think there's a lot of cool things that are really going to get deer coming into this area. But nonetheless, trail camera location on the food source, it's always going to give you really good information. And even though I haven't planted this food plot yet, with me clearing it out last winter, it's exploding with new growth. All of the stumps are sprouting up. The deer are browsing in this place like crazy. I actually got the nicest buck so far on trail camera. I am checking cameras today, so hopefully that changes, but I did get a really nice picture of a buck in here already that has me very excited for what's to come on this property. But nonetheless, trail camera on a food source, always a good spot for you. Now, in addition to a trail camera right on the food source itself, you can always focus on those trails leading to and from the food source. These are really critical for me, and honestly probably the most important summer trail cameras that I'm hanging on new property, because they're really going to tell me the story of how are the deer using that piece of property in relation to that food source. How are the patterns coming in and out of that food changing based off of wind, based off of the time of day, based off of the pressure that I'm applying in that food plot itself. There are so many different factors, so many pieces of the puzzle that come together through the data that you get on the trail cameras that are on these main travel routes heading in and out of the food source. So here on my place, I have 2 trail cameras, one located on each side of the food plot. So that way I get an idea of how these deer are coming in from the southern side of the plot as well as the northern side of the plot. And that's going to really tell me, one, where can I hang stand locations that are going to target that travel to and from the food plot or around the food plot in the case of bucks wanting to scent check that area. And 2, are there going to be places that it might be better served for me to do a habitat improvement, like put in a bedding area, if it's on a trail system in a location that I can't really hunt anyway, but it would be beneficial for me to put some really good bedding cover right next to a food source and then allow me to open up other stand locations on the property. So again, I really love running trail cameras on these main trail systems heading in and out of the food, because it does provide me with so much intel. Well, I made it all the way back to the house, realized that when I was editing the video, I accidentally deleted this last clip on the last trail camera location, but nonetheless, this last trail camera location is going to be focused on transition areas right next to bedding habitat. So on my property, I have one area that sets up really well for bedding, existing bedding on the property. I saw a lot of deer bedded in there when I was hunting the property last December, last January, and that has continued right into this year with what appears to be a pretty nice batch or group of bucks moving into that bedding area. So where I have this last trail camera position is right in the transition zone where that bedding area then shifts into more open hardwoods. There's a lot of white oaks in there, so there's a lot of really good food for those deer in the summertime with the natural browse, as well as when those oaks start dropping. And if you continue down that ridge system, it leads you right into my food plot. So The goal of what I'm trying to accomplish with these trail camera locations is to try to find where are the primary entry exit routes for this bedding area, so that way I can learn where my more aggressive stand locations are going to be come the middle of the season if I feel like I need to get more aggressive on my property. So these are going to be trail cameras that I'm going to really hang and then just forget about. Right now, I'm using non-cell cameras because I want to put out a lot of them and start to get intel and really figure out what are these main paths in and out of this bedding area. And then later on in the year, these are going to be exchanged with cell cameras, so that way I can put those cell cameras out there. I have a solar panel that goes with them, and then I'm not going to have to go in there for the rest of the season. So these transition areas, although they are a little bit more risky of a trail camera location, especially for the summertime, it's going to be that intel that is going to potentially lead to that immediate success for myself when I'm out here hunting this fall. Now, of course, there's going to be a countless number of trail cam locations that you can put out in the summertime, water hole locations, scrape locations, just to name a few of them. But the trail camera locations that I covered today are very applicable to my property, ones that are going to have a direct impact on my success this fall, as well as my success in future years for not only hunting, but different habitat improvements on the property. I think that's a very important note here, is that you always want to make sure that you're taking the information that you learn from videos like this and applying it directly to your situation. So with that being said, that's going to be the end of the video today. Feel free to drop a comment down below with your favorite summer trail cam locations, any questions you have about hanging trail cameras on your property, or anything whitetail related. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.